It is a very foggy South Louisiana morning today, and I am on my way to an inspection. This is actually inspection number 1 of 3 this week, which is so exciting because this means that sellers are under contract with buyers to purchase their home. And it's also great news for the buyers because during their due diligence or inspection period of their contract, buyers have the right to have the home inspected by anyone that they choose to. Diligence, real estate agent with Real Brokers servicing all of Louisiana if you are a seller, and mostly Acadiana and the South Louisiana region if you are a buyer. So this morning I'm on my way to an inspection because in my neck of the woods, it is a mandate that we, as the real estate agent who is representing the buyer, that we attend all inspections. There are some caveats to that, but it doesn't really matter. I feel like it is absolutely my responsibility when I represent the buyer to be there for their inspection of the home that they are purchasing, to be there in case the inspector has questions about anything, and then of course when the inspection is completed, to be there during the review with the inspector, who will then tell the buyer anything that he found with the house that he feels like is in need of repair, may not be up to code, or whatever the case may be. So I will be there for this one, and I will of course be there for the next couple of inspections that we have later in the week. It is a great time to be a buyer, and it is especially a great time to be a buyer if you have representation, because that real estate agent is going to say to you, once you go under contract with a home as a buyer, hopefully you have in your contract enough due diligence days, which means days that you have as the buyer to have that home inspected by anyone that you choose to. It can be a licensed inspector. In fact, I have 3 inspections this week. 2 of those 3 are being done by licensed inspectors. One of them, the buyer of the home, has a dad who is a builder who has been building homes for years and years and years and years. So he is going to inspect the home for them. You as the buyer have the right to have that home inspected by anyone that you choose. I always recommend, of course, a licensed inspector, but you have the right to do it. And during that time period, and listen, there is no set number in your contract for your due diligence inspection period. I've seen 7 days, I've seen 10 days, I've seen 21 days, I've seen 30 days. It depends on the buyer's needs, wants, their work schedule, all those things, right? But what I always say to buyers is, as soon as possible that you get your house under contract and you know what house you're buying, you should have it inspected as soon as possible so that you know, is it the house that you really want to buy? There may be something so wrong with that house that you decide that you do not want to move forward with the purchase. And during your due diligence or inspection period, you as the buyer have the right to cancel that contract for any reason at all, or for no reason at all. You can cancel it just because you changed your mind. So during your due diligence period, so let's say you went under contract yesterday on a house that you want to buy, and you have 14 days on your contract. That means your 14 days began the day after the last person signed that contract agreeing to the terms. So if that was yesterday, then your days begin today, and you have 14 days. Today is the first day of the 14 days to have it inspected by anyone that you choose. And so let's say during your inspection period, there are things with the house that need to be repaired. There may be broken windows, there may be missing handrails, there may be rotten wood, peeling paint, different things. You as the buyer have all kinds of options that your real estate agent will tell you what your options are. You can ask the seller to repair anything. You can ask them to reduce the price. You can ask them to pay more of your closing costs. There are so many things that you as the buyer have the right to ask the seller to do. So then that's presented to the seller. The seller then gets to decide. Let's say that you ask them to fix 4 things and they feel like, okay, we'll fix 3 of those 4 things, but then maybe we'll take a couple of $1,000s off the price, or maybe we'll add some money to your closing costs. There are so many different options for the seller too. Also know that you as the buyer have the right to ask them to do anything that you want them to do, but the seller, doesn't have to do anything at all. They do not have to do anything, but then you as the buyer, when you get their response, get to decide, are you moving forward with the purchase? And remember, all this happens during your due diligence period. So if you had 14 days on your contract, y'all are going back and forth with negotiations after inspections. During that time, you get to decide, are you moving forward with the purchase, or are you canceling the contract and looking for another house, all right? So it's very, very, very important as a buyer to make sure that you have hired a real estate agent who is great at negotiating, not just at the forefront at the beginning of the term when you're negotiating pricing and all those things, but later on, all those negotiations are going to come into play whenever you're back and forth with the seller about different options during the inspection. It is not something you are going to negotiate with the seller at all. That is why you have a real estate agent, right? So if you are thinking about selling or buying and you do not like drama and you don't like dealing with issues and you don't like negotiating at all, you absolutely should hire yourself a real estate agent and ask the question, do you love negotiating and are you good at it? And another thing I would say to ask your real estate agent is, what percentage of deals do you actually get from contract all the way to the end to the closing table? That number should hopefully be very, very, very high. I will tell you, probably 99% of the deals that I get under contract make it to the closing table. That's because I am very proactive in heading off issues before they ever occur. And that's hugely important. Y'all have a fabulous day. Remember, there are no stupid questions when it comes to real estate. Be sure to ask all your questions. It's the only way you're going to learn. Y'all have a great day. Take care.